What's up, guys? The Lazy Goldmaker here with another video. So something I've done a couple of times or over the last two expansion launches, well, Shadowlands and TBC, that I've had for my patrons is I've had a series of videos where I go through and review the overall market that I'm seeing. And for both of the launches, I did that as a special offer for everyone who joined. They got one every week. I've been thinking about for a long time of extending that series, and that's what we're gonna do now. So what I'm planning to do is I'll make these videos every 2 weeks, and there'll be one of those will be public and the other one will be patron only. So there'll be one here publicly on YouTube every month, and then if you want to see all of them, then you can become a patron. So what we're gonna do now, this is the first one in the series. It's been a while since I've done these, so I'm gonna be a little bit different. Probably gonna take a little while to find the perfect rhythm. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the professions and see what's profitable. So here we are. This is the first character we're gonna look at. This is my Shadowlands main. He has Alchemy and Engineering. So those are, well, Alchemy is typically been a staple of gold making. Of course, the issue with looking at the profitability, I have not been using Alchemy much. I know that Alchemy is profitable. It almost always is, but it also takes a very specific kind of effort to make gold with Alchemy. So if you look at the Spectral Flask of Power, for instance, right now, the minimum buyout in TSM is 585 gold, so it's showing a negative profit. But the market value is almost 700, so at that level, you would be making gold. The problem with Alchemy is always valuing your materials correctly. Because you can very consistently get your materials for less than the current market value in TSM, which means that the base valuation in TSM is almost always wrong. So what we're seeing now is what I've seen a lot of the times when I've been opening my Alchemy window. With a lot of the recipes, some of them are barely showing a profit, a lot of them are showing negative profits. Then if you go and look into it, you can see that, for instance, the Rising Glory is selling for 8 gold, less than the market value, which means that this recipe is actually 40 gold cheaper than if you buy the materials right now than TSM thinks it is. So you're actually making 45 gold per, and that's a crafting cost of 140 gold, and then selling it for 180. That's a good profit margin, actually. So that's the issue with Alchemy. It's still the issue. So it means that if you're willing to spend the time and effort to stay on top of keeping your prices always up to date, always correct, your material prices, and updating them and keeping them correct, and making sure you only buy materials during the part of the week where they're cheap, and focusing on getting your sales around the reset day or after the reset day, then you can usually consistently make money with Alchemy. And that's it. That's really what there is to it. I made quite a bit of gold with Shadow Core Oil early on. It's one of the few things that I've actually sold. And this is still quite nice. Alchemy is a little bit, or it was at least a little bit expensive to level. There's no particularly hard recipes to get, so just go to town and enjoy. Next up, we have Engineering. Engineering is, by a very significant margin, the worst profession for gold making in Shadowlands. It's, yeah. There are some items that show a profit, but none of them have any meaningful sale rates. Actually, someone's reset the optical target and beginner. Maybe someone will buy these eventually for more than they actually cost to craft. I don't think so. The wormhole generator has been the only one that will sell, because you need to farm the rep to get the recipe, and anyone who picks up engineering will want one of these so they can teleport around and save a bunch of time. But that's it. Like, engineering is a nothing burger of a profession. There's nothing here. If you have it and you have the wormhole generator recipe, then yeah, craft 20 of these and keep them on the auction house. You'll make some gold. Outside of that, there's really nothing to do with engineering, and if you don't already have it, I would not suggest getting it outside of getting it on your main, because the wormhole generator is just such a time saver. You can teleport anywhere. You choose the zone. It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, all right. So let's jump over to the next crafter. So next up, my Deathmite. This is my jewel crafter blacksmith. And these are two of the best professions in Shadowlands by a very significant margin, and have been for a long time. And why are they good? Well, we'll take a look at jewel crafting first. So jewel crafting, the jewels themselves, these are almost worthless, as are the gems. They're barely selling for vendor value. And that's because when you prospect, you end up, you're not prospecting for gems, you're prospecting for the essences. And you need a lot of essences to craft legendaries, and crafting legendaries is incredibly profitable. Incredibly profitable. So you definitely want to do that as much as possible. The jewel crafting legendaries are incredibly profitable. Of course, you can't really see it. Well, you have to mouse over here. You can see that the rank 6 ring, for instance, is, well, it's right now selling for 164. The crafting cost, according to this, is 142k. I think you can get it a little bit cheaper by being smart about your prospecting. You're still making 20k profit per item, which is a lot of gold. And the necklace as well is also pretty good, I believe. I haven't checked it lately. Yeah, the rank 6 necklace is, well, 120k profit. No, 50k profit, never mind. I was reading that wrong. But yeah, definitely great. And then in addition to this, with jewel crafting, the Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial and the Crafter's Mark 3 are great. They synergize perfectly with crafting legendaries, because when you craft legendaries, you need a lot of essences, which means you probably want to prospect a lot to save gold. And that leaves you with an absolute pile of gems. And what can you do with those gems? Well, you can turn them into Crafter's Marks. That's what I've been doing. I have 44 on me right now. I have a bunch of Crafter's Mark gear. The ring, the Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial rings sell incredibly well, because they are item level 230 with a guaranteed socket and guaranteed perfect secondary stats if you buy the right variant. The best combination will sell for as much as 30k still. Like 3-4 days ago, I sold a Mastery Haste ring for 28k. So it can even make sense to use missives to get like the rarest or most in-demand variation. But overall, this is just a fantastic market. I like to craft, well, the general thing I do is I restock my legendaries, and then I'll just craft however many Crafter's Marks I can move through. I'm prioritizing just doing Chain Dial, because I just don't have the time to craft Crafter's Mark 3 as well. So much time. Chain Dial marks, they spend more materials, so that saves me time. So that's what we're doing with jewel crafting. It's very profitable. One thing to note, if you, like me, have a jewel crafting and a blacksmith on the same character, which you should, it's one of the best combinations, because that means you can craft your ingots, Shadowghast ingots, on the only crafter that will use them. Then be aware that the Vestige of Origins from jewel crafting is never worth it. It's strictly more expensive in terms of materials needed than the blacksmithing one. So just be aware of that. The blacksmithing one is cheaper, just by its nature. Like the amount of ore needed for that. Maybe if the lithium ore is very cheap, it might be cheaper to do the jewel crafting one. But in terms of raw materials, if you're prospecting just the zone specific ores, then it's not worth it. So that's that. Now, blacksmithing, well, it's the same as jewel crafting. You're looking at making money with the exact same recipes, or the exact same types of recipes, I should say. We're looking at Shadow Steel gear with Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial and Crafter's Mark 3. And obviously the legendaries. Blacksmithing, for blacksmithing, you want to do... Do I remember what it is? Let's see. I don't actually remember. It's Greaves, and I should have. We gotta check this out. So for blacksmithing, the slots that you want to craft, the leggings, the boots, and the belt. These are the ones that do not have Shards of Domination sockets. These are the ones I'm prioritizing. All the others sell as well, just not as well. I've personally not branched into crafting rank 5 and 6 of the others yet, but I will probably just do rank 6 though, and not do rank 5 for the off Shard of Domination slots. And then you just craft. I keep absolutely everything in stock. I don't think that's actually worth it. I think you should just do rank 4, 5, and 6 currently. And eventually you probably would want to do just rank 4 and 6 and not waste Quartzite crystals on rank 5, because they are just an absolutely atrocious value proposition, because it takes one more week to go from rank 5 to 6, one extra week. Compared to going from rank 4 to 6. So I just don't think that value proposition is ever worth it, considering the cost of Quartzite crystals. So rank 4 and 6, those are the main ones. You have so much soul ash now. I think the majority of people will just go straight to a rank 4 on a new legendary, and then rank 6 when they can or want to. And obviously we should expect Quartzite crystals to go down in price. So that's the main thing. I've made good gold with the Shadow Steel stuff. You definitely want to get the patterns. I don't remember which ones that are, because I can't see it at the moment. But if you haven't already like done your reps, there are two of the patterns that are from reps from the Undying Army and the Ascended, I believe. So make sure you get those so you have all of the rare gear. It definitely helps out because it's all profitable. And yeah. So next crafter. Let's rumble. Actually, I have him straight here. Tailoring, leatherworking. This is more of the same. Yeah, might not be super surprised to hear it, but this is more of the same. Leatherworking. What are you gonna do with leatherworking? Well, you're gonna do exactly the same as you do with blacksmithing and jewel crafting. You're gonna craft legendaries, and you're gonna craft Crafter's Mark 3 and Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial armor. It's all very profitable. I've found it's definitely possible that there are like slots that are too competitive on your realm. So I can't tell you that. Sadly, TSM does not like tell you the profit right here based on adding the Crafter's Mark. So I'll have to see that. You have to mouse over and see, and you can see that here the base profit is 2k off of a 5k crafting cost. So that's very, very good, in fact. So that's it. Keep in mind, if you have leatherworking, tailoring combined, like I have, in most cases, the tailoring vestiges and crafter's marks are more expensive than the leatherworking counterparts. The leatherworking crafter's mark, it's 5k. It's 7,000 for the crafter's mark of the chain dial for tailoring. Tailoring vestige is all the way up at 110k. Leatherworking vestige is 88. So tailoring, you should never craft vestiges, crafter's marks, or crafter's mark. Oh yeah, with tailoring unless you absolutely have to. Which you shouldn't put yourself in that position. Make sure you pair tailoring with something that has access to cheaper crafter's marks, which is going to be all of the others. You can also make some money with like the Desolate Armor Kit. I actually don't even have the Heavy Desolate Armor Kit. Where's that from? The Wild Hunt Honored. Should see if I have that. This is not a main, so I haven't played this character at all. The Drums of Deathly Ferocity will also sell every once in a while. But the profit is not large, and compared to the big gold here, which is going to be in this specialized armor category with the base legendaries, that's where you want to be. So for leather, the slots that you want to focus on: leggings, bracers, belt. Those are the leather slots. These are the non-sharded domination slots for leather, and they are the best sellers. I think I've found that leggings is like the best seller for me personally. I haven't looked up don't know if it has sales data. Perhaps only on the base item and not the specific variants. It does not look like we have any sales data on the specific variant. So that's for leather. For the male gear, you're looking at leggings. Yet again, leggings is for everyone. And then we're looking at the boots and the gloves. The boots and the gloves. Gloves have been one of the best ones for me personally, but all of them sell. For armor, for like the Crafter's Mark armor, I was expecting that maybe the Sharded Domination slots would not sell as well, but I think people are just using this to shore up whatever their currently weakest slot is. A lot of mains probably still using 230 gear. Definitely a lot of alts can get a lot of mileage from 230 gear. So pick that up, and definitely the Crafter's Mark 3 as well if you're just a freshly dinged level 60. And getting a full set of item level 200 gear, that's going to be a nice boost and quickly get you into some meaningful content. So that sells really well. Tailoring. So the last of the armor professions. The bags can often sell profitably. It depends a little bit on the price. Of course, lightless silk is incredibly expensive currently. After the patch launched, people are using tailoring legendaries at an absolutely incredible clip. So I think that the deep sea bags will probably be the better option if you are looking to make money from the bags, from the 32 slot bags or the embroidered deep sea bags, whatever they are. The shrouded cloth bag is a good little one to keep in stock particularly if you're starting out. It's not too expensive. But the serious money in tailoring is in Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial, Vestige of Origins, Crafter's Mark, and primarily the legendaries. So one thing, tailors have access to the Grimveiled Cape. Everyone can wear cloaks. No one has a Shard of Domination socket on their cloak slot. What does that mean? It means that cloaks are one of the most popular slots out of all of them. They sell really, 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 really well. This is the one I sell out on by far the most. There's also several quite popular cloth classes. So there's that, and the cloth legendaries are not too expensive. So a lot of cloth classes are also more willing than other classes to buy extra legendaries. My cloth sale rate has consistently been extremely high compared to other professions. Of course, the prices are lower, but the sale rate is there. In addition to the cape, the slots that you want to focus on are hands or gloves, and obviously leggings. That's leggings on everyone, pants, and then lastly the boots, the Grimveiled sandals. Those are the slots that do not have Shards of Dominations, and they sell really, really well. And then it's just the same for the Crafter's Mark 3 and Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial gear. Definitely make sure you get the Shadowlands Cloak from Undying Armored Honored if you haven't already. I haven't. That's going to be another recipe you can sell, another way to generate some gold. And yeah, one thing to note about all of the last 4 professions is I cannot overstate how incredibly top heavy the gold making potential are in all of these. Rank 6, rank 4 legendaries are selling at incredible rates. We can just pull up my sales numbers on this account. Let's take a look. We can just search by like Grimveiled. It takes a little while. All right, last 7 days. So we have 1.5 million from tailoring the last 7 days. Actually, the last 30 days we have 4 million. Shadowgast. Gonna take a little while to update. 5.5 million from Shadowgast. That's blacksmithing and jewel crafting. 2.5 million from leather, and then something from mail. And this does not include the biggest week I had, which was the week before last, where I collected all my sales on my laptop. So you have 1 full week of sales that's missing from this, and that week alone I sold 12 million worth of primarily legendaries. So this is where the money is. This is where the big money is. Absolutely. That's that's the majority of my sales. That's about 13-14 million of this. And then of course in this last 30 days I also have a very large amount of Crafter's Mark gear sales. So that's where the money is. That's where the big money is that I've found overall in the patch, are in these 4 professions and in Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial and legendaries. Now we'll have to get to the last 2 professions as well, because this isn't the only thing with profit, and there is a lot of gold to be made with some of the others as well. So let's jump to the next crafter. Alright, so time for the final 2, Enchanting and Inscription. And for Enchanting, you'll see that I've favorited a couple of recipes here, and this is where this is the only thing that I've been able to meaningfully care about with Enchanting. Enchanting is very low value overall in this expansion. There are some enchants that sell for a profit, and you should definitely check your realm, because the cost of keeping 20 of each of the ones that are profitable just in the bags on your banker and posting 1 of each whenever you run a posting scan is really, really low. So definitely for people starting out, that's well worth it. The ring enchants probably the best ones, along with the cloak enchants, what I've found, and then the celestial guidance weapon enchant. Most of the ones that need eternal crystals are significantly less good. for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. The main reason to have Enchanting and to max it out is for these 3 recipes. If you want to do any sort of meaningful legendary crafting, then you want to be able to craft your own enchanted materials. It takes a lot of time, but it will also save you a lot of time, or it will save you a lot of gold in the long term. So that's really it. But as I said, do keep a couple of enchants of the ones that are showing a profit on your realm. I've been making some good, or at least a meaningful gold with this over the course of my NA series. I don't do this on my main realm at all anymore because it's just not worth the time of crafting these when I can spend my time crafting legendaries. But it's not a terrible market at all, particularly for people starting out. It's pretty good. So that's sort of it for enchanting. I don't think there's any meaningful, like, hard to get recipes here. Yeah, there's nothing here. There's a couple of recipes, but none of them really matter. So next up, inscription, or the last one, inscription. So inscription is a profession that you cannot really meaningfully see what is profitable if you're just looking at the TSM window. You need to price your inks correctly. So I've written posts about this in the past. For instance, for missives, the approach that I did when I was crafting missives was to just buy Death Blossom and Nightshade, mill those 2 herbs, and then craft equal amounts of each missive, and then I knew exactly what my average crafting cost was for the missives, which is reflected in my auctioning operations. So you can see that the minimum price in my auctioning operation is about 332 gold, and that would mean that we're making a lot of profit because my crafting cost is then somewhere in the 280, 270 gold range. So that's pretty good. Considering it's selling for 500 gold, that's like 200 gold profit per missive. For the versatility missives, that's really good. The mastery missive is not as profitable. The haste missive is barely profitable. And the critical strike missive is a little bit better. That's what I've been doing. It's also what I've been doing with Dark Moon cards. I've not touched Dark Moon cards in a long time. Primarily because they're a very time-consuming market. So when I could spend, I need to spend all of my crafting time on this account making enchanted materials, so I can actually craft my legendaries. If I had more time, I would have considered doing this. If it's profitable, I haven't checked the profitability. It can make money, but it's not fantastic at the moment. And then lastly, we have some other things, like you can potentially make money with a Tome of the Still Mind. People buy talent reset tomes, but once again, you'll have to calculate the correct crafting cost based on valuing these at Death Blossom prices and not the auction house value of the inks. The competition is a little high and the sale rate is not fantastic. Neither is the profit margin. And the last thing you want to make money with here, the contracts I've never tried. I don't know if they'll ever make sense. Maybe the Death's Advance contract is popular right now. Could definitely see that being useful if people still do world quests. But the Vantus Rune, this one is big. I made a lot of gold with the Vantus Rune for Nathria. I have that on the character, and I definitely want to get the Vantus Rune for Sanctum of Domination as well. This one will sell well throughout the entire patch tier, pretty much. I made a good bit of gold with the Vantus Rune for Nathria. You can see I sold 251. So that was 150k, and I did not spend that much time crafting these. So definitely Sanctum of Domination, great for starting out. And the missives are good. Now, if we're looking at my overall thoughts on the professions right now, if you want to get rich, you want to go with the armor professions. That's it. You want to go with blacksmithing, jewel crafting, tailoring, leatherworking. That's where the big money is, in legendaries primarily, and then secondarily in the chain dial gear. The only other profession that can also generate very large gold volume is alchemy. But it's very competitive and very annoying, so personally I don't bother much with it. But there are loads of people who have great success in alchemy. If you're one of them, then go ahead. If you're someone who enjoys that kind of optimization, then yeah, go blast. Now, if you're someone who doesn't enjoy that kind of like hardcore cancel scan, always min-maxing and making sure that your material costs are always the correct ones, then the best approach is going to be the Crafter's Mark 3 as soon as you get honored with Death's Advance, and then Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial when you get to tier 4 with the Archivist Codex. For other markets, the rest of the professions are more of like filling in the gaps and useful when starting out. Inscription and enchanting are both relatively cheap to get to a point where you can make money with them. You can do the enchanting shuffle with tailoring enchanting and make some gold. You can just craft stuff like the ring enchants, stuff like cloak enchants, celestial guidance weapon enchants with enchanting. That's going to generate anywhere from a few thousand to 10, 20, 30,000 a week. Might even be possible to get more if you really consistently cancel scan, but at that point you're probably better off spending that effort on something else. Inscription is sort of the same. You have the missives, you have the Vantus rune, and you have potentially the Dark Moon decks. That's where you can make gold there, and it's very cheap, relatively cheap to get to the point where you can start profiting from missives in particular. But it's not going to bring you, it's not going to make you extremely rich. So you want to graduate to the weapon or to the armor professions as soon as possible if you want to make money. That is where the money is in 9.1, and it's going to be where the money is for the majority of the patch. Unless you're someone who has had loads of success and had loads of fun with Alchemy in the past, then you're free to go there. I know myself that I just don't have the patience to do that amount of cancel scanning, so I just stay away from it. But it certainly works. So guys, I think that's it. That's my thoughts on the current market. I'd say that if you're looking at the tier list, we might bring that up on screen. The tier list is going to be like armor, legendaries, chain dial gear, crafters mark 3, and then like consumables somewhere up there. And then after that you have the rest, which is just going to fill in gaps essentially. So good luck, happy gold making. Leave a like, leave a comment down below if there's anything that was unclear, anything you disagree with. And good luck with gold making in 9.1. This has been one of the most profitable times of the expansion, or of any expansion for me personally. Hopefully you're having success as well. We'll see you on the next video. Goodbye guys!